Folks, this one is for you today or whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is it. This is the last hurrah, pretty much. We've got secrets revealed next week, but this is the final, except for next week's Secrets Revealed episode, the final recap of the season. The reunion part 3, part Trace. The Trace reunions, we are doing that right now. The pressure I feel is enormous, folks. Just imagine, dear, sweet baby Lord, if you could just give me the strength to give these fine folks a proper line by line reenactment of this shit show of all shit shows. If we could potentially make some sense out of this last 98 days, please, dear Lord, let me be a conduit for you to explain to these people the fuckery that we have seen over these last 98 days. And if you really want to get technical, these last 10 seasons of the show, the one, the only Vanderpump Rules. Holy hell, folks. It's Ryan Bailey reporting live. It's 7:44 p.m. The day has gotten away from me for so many reasons. We'll get into this. And I don't know why I'm rushing up top because, folks, buckle in. I have a feeling this is going to be like a Peacock extended supersized version. These are all supersized episodes. My God, I can't wait to, I don't think I ever do, but I would love to go recap like 30 minutes. The podcasters that can do these 45-minute to add, that's a whole nother talent because every moment is a meal. And you guys take it as seriously as I do, if not more serious. So we're going to go into everything. Now, I want to let you know, if you don't, by this point, there are multiple episodes today. This is going to be probably even more than 2 episodes. So what happens back in the old days, you would have these things called cassettes, right? The cassette would get to the end of, side A, and then you'd take out the cassette, you'd flip it around and put it in for side B. That's what I'm asking you to do with these podcasts as well. So the recap will most likely be 1 episode. Hopefully just 1 episode. Then part 2 will have a lot of reactions. I'm going to have a lot of my Patreon members. They had really interesting thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys. We'll go over some of the podcasts, including Jax and Brittany with Tom Schwartz. We'll go over Ariana was just captured at the airport on her way to a surprise weekend. I know this surprise, but I'm not allowed to say what it is. So, by the time this comes out, the surprise will have already happened, I think, but just in case, I'm not going to. But anyway, she's on her way to a surprise that she doesn't even know where she's on the way to. So that's awesome. And then the part 3 of this is going to be, I interviewed today Perry Samotin, who actually is the author of the cover story that Glamour did on Ariana Madix that was out today. Highly suggest you read that article because I thought it really fleshed out who Ariana is a little bit more, even away from Scandal. I thought it was a really well done interview, and I geek out just interviewing writers and things of that. So I did a full hour with her earlier today, and we just had the best time talking. And I thought she had some really great insight. Also a fan of Vanderpump Rules. So that will be part 3. But that's a lot, right? But you guys want a lot, and I love to do this. So I wanted to put this all out there, be it as it may. And I will die tomorrow, and I will rest and all of that stuff. But for tonight, this one is for you tonight. Where do we even start? Well, let's start with saying thank you. Thank you for being here. Most of you guys knew about the pod and were listening to the pod. For all the people that I get I don't even get to see all my messages, but when I do, I'll see messages of I started listening to you during Scandal, and I kind of like it. No, it's the best. It is the best, and I hope we can keep this community going after Vanderpump Rules. But thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your time. These aren't little tiny episodes, so you gotta want to be here, and I really appreciate those of you. And there's a lot of you that are here. But listen, I was texting with Miss Ariana Madix today. I thought this would be a great place to start, and she said she sent me this, and she said, "This made me think of you, LOL." And it was a comment. I think this is maybe from Reddit. I don't know. She said, "Maybe the real scandal was the friends we made along the way." And that, to me, if we were to look for anything positive in any of this, besides all of the t-shirt sales that every one of the cast members have gotten from this. I would say that's it. Is that, man, the community that has been built up, not just in this podcast, but everywhere. Whether you're on a Facebook forum, a Reddit thread, a TikTok comment section, live viewing parties, this really got so many like-minded people together. There were so many jokes shared. I mean, of course, the horrors were shared, and of course, I'm talking mainly about Tom and his band, but no, I like the band. But there's been a community here, and I think that is the great part of all of this. Of all of this tragedy, there are little bright spots. So we want to cling to those bright spots, right? And we can commiserate about the horror, and we commiserate about the horror because a lot of us have been through similar horrors, or we were like, oh my God, I've been through something similar, but nothing like this. There was an amazement that kind of ignited people together. Now, I do want to toot my own horn, which I don't love to do, but I want to say is that I told you I was flipping right about the last 5 minutes of that show. You heard it here first. We will go through that when we get to there. And there is one thing I was not wrong about, but one thing that I didn't think would hit me the way it did. And so when I was told that, I was like, oh, that's nothing. But then when I watched it, I was like, wow, it really moved me. But I told you that was the last scene. Boom. I told you she wasn't pregnant. Boom. I've not lied to you guys at all, and I've been correct. I need to make sure I shout this shit out louder when I tell you guys. I'm not telling you for my own health. I'm like, this is what happens. So I'm really curious also with you guys, were you disappointed? I mean, we'd already talked about all of this, but I thought overall, the last part of the reunion, and I'm gonna talk to you where I watched the reunion because I watched it at Sir. So I'll go over that night before we get started. Last night. Man, you guys, I'm barely standing right now. You're going to watch me disintegrate during this podcast tonight. But it's weird. Sheena says at the end of this reunion of like, this is the most somber reunion we've ever had. And she was dead on. Was that there was a sadness, was that I thought there was going to be some celebration. I thought there was like, we're going to get to the end and it's going to be, woo, we did it. And it was kind of a sad whimper, a resigned, ugh. It ended with Rachel crying and saying that Tom's going to kill me for saying this and all of these things. And we're going to talk about all of those moments. I watched it, and I watched it again last night when I got home, and I watched it a couple more times today. And I keep trying to find ways that I can make it funny to myself, ways that I'm like, okay, where can I be silly? Where can I be, like you look for those moments to kind of get you in there and to say, hey, we can laugh at this kind of horror. And it was hard. This one was really hard for me because I felt personally sad watching it. I felt sad for the people involved. I felt sad for how I knew people might react to what was happening on the screen. And I hope I can bring a little clarity to what I think in my perception, what I saw last night. And that can be totally different than yours. It's all good. We're still friends. But I just left feeling really sad. Like, it's just so heavy. Like the first and second part of the reunion, I was like, oh, yeah, get him. And then the third part happened. And I also told you guys, I told you since like 2 weeks ago, temper your expectations. Don't expect Rachel to come out there and like, wow, she's really explaining everything. And she feels completely, like I knew we weren't going to get any of that because that is not ever who she's been on this show. So she's not going to completely change who she is as a person and come out and just like tap dance amazing and be like, holy shit, I just understand this from a completely different angle now. No. Her silences and her inability to speak actually spoke more than she did. And I also thought what made me sad was that I knew the audience in some corners of the audience would be like, well, this is just bullying. This is just picking on Rachel. And I know how it could come off like that. I'm not an idiot, but I do want to point out, just remembering that Tom and Rachel had been in this affair. Now, I think Rachel was cognizant of being in the affair. There's a possibility she wasn't. But they've known for at that point 9+ months, potentially even longer. Who knows what's going to come out next? But they knew. Remember, that is Ariana's first time seeing Rachel. She had seen Tom. In fact, after they found out that night, that Wednesday night when his phone fell out of his pocket, Ariana and Tom went and they talked till 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning. They talked all through the night. And then cameras were up on Friday, and they even talked hours and hours more on camera. We only saw a very small section of that footage, which I did ask one of the producers last night. I'm like, you better release those tapes. But remember, that was the first time she saw Rachel. They had 2 brief text exchanges, but that was it. So think about that. Tom and Rachel, they know exactly what they've done. They've communicated with each other, not only after they had been caught, but all of those 9 months before they had been caught. That is Ariana's first time to see Rachel. She didn't see her before filming. She didn't see her at the studio. First time walking out on that stage. So you're telling me she should have been nicer? She should have been like, my God, if anything, it made me a little bit like, damn, Ariana is a real person, because there's real fucking anger there. And I'm sorry that Rachel, can't seem to emotionally respond to moments. She's a blank slate for most of the time. I was almost relieved in those last 5 minutes to actually see her get worked up, which I thought was genuine. If anything, I think this entire hour, 10 minutes, if you watch the Peacock version, what we'll be recapping tonight. So sorry, Peacock. I don't need you guys to subscribe because I'm going to give you all the dirt. Is that Tom is a horrible person. If anything, each week, how do we make him look worse? How does he make himself look worse? And he somehow manages to do that. My God. Complaining about people not reaching out to him. Complaining about a girl not taking off her shirt to have sex with him. It's insane on so many levels. And so, yes, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish DJ James Kennedy and Lala, even as funny as they fucking are, yeah, sometimes I wish they had chilled out. I wish instead of, once we realized we weren't getting the answers from Raquel, like I knew we wouldn't from the beginning, why don't we go back to Sandoval? Why don't we start asking more specific questions of him? Why are we, it's like, I understand that it's Raquel's time, it's her day, but she's not going to answer. We knew it. So when that isn't working, why are we not, we should be completely focusing on this man. This man was the architect of his downfall, but he was trying to be the architect and a celebrity at the same time. He thought he was being the architect of something great, that he was going to be able to not miss a beat. He was going to be able to put this out at the right time where he would still end up being celebrated. And it didn't go off the way he wanted. And he lied on top of lies last night. He lied on top of lies. Even when he said he was being truthful in the reunion, we found in the last 5 minutes he was lying. Even though at that point his credibility was so shot that we knew he was lying in those moments. We didn't need those last 5 minutes, but it was refreshing to have them just to confirm that this man is going to keep lying. Lie after lie after lie after lie. And so I want to, while we go through this, I want you guys to all remember that he's not good. Maybe someday he will learn to be good. But as of, he's 44, 45. I know he's, he doesn't seem to have learned any lessons from his past. It's just from a bystander's point of view. And Raquel, I don't want to say she's an innocent because she is not. What she did is horrible, and we're going to theorize on reasons why that could be. But I thought it was an unwinnable hour of television, and it was deeply unsatisfying. We're going to make it satisfying for you today, folks. We're going to find those moments that we can really dig into and make a meal out of and have fun with. But it was deeply unsatisfying because I knew going into it, we weren't going to get any kind of the answers or closure that we needed. These were pageant answers. I think even Lisa said that at one point. Darling, it's like not a pageant, Nicolene. So those are some brief overview thoughts. Last night, thank you to Bravo TV. Thank you to Donald and Jenny, and thank you to the producers over at Evolution. I got to go to SUR to watch the Tom's funeral and I was very excited slash nervous to go, but it was great, man. Pulling up to Sir, standing in line. There was a TMZ bus that passed, and they were like, "What are you guys here for?" And I shouted out, "Tom's funeral." Got the first laugh of the night, folks, and it was amazing. I met somebody in line that knew who I was, and that was it. I mean, people, you guys, man. I'm like, but it was so nice. People were like coming up to me and wanting a picture. Like, Kelsey, if you're listening from GoFundMe, you came up and you said so many beautiful things. You almost made me cry. I met so many nice people last night that had been listening to the show, and then that it was just so, man, it doesn't get better than that. That was so cool. But of course, I was like a kid in a candy store, and I was nervous, and I fumble, and I don't do the right things. So we get in there. I was with John Joseph, Zen Blonde, Kiki Monique, Julian, one of the editors on Vanderpump Rules, and so many. Danielle Hollaback Cards was there. Steven Faces by Bravo was there. Kirby Johnson, who's been on this show a bunch, she was there. I got to finally meet her in person. Courtney from Two Judgy Girls, I got to meet her and her dude. They were there. So many people were there that I was just having the best time just hobnobbing. And once I got over my initial nerves, it was just so great. There was a step and repeat, and I was too nervous to actually take photos. And then on the step and repeat, and then I finally asked one of the ladies working, like when there was a break, I was like, "Could you take a picture of me in front of the step and repeat?" And she was like, "Yeah, why are you whispering?" I don't know. Just she was really nice. Everybody was nice. They were selling merch there, but don't worry, guys. I couldn't afford the merch, but I did steal these coasters that say Vanderpump Rules. And in the back, it says, "Raise your glasses high. This one's for you tonight." I'm willing to let this go for $1,000, folks. If you are willing to give me $1,000, I'm willing to give that to you. I even took the little drink stirrers that say #pump rules, and it says Bravo. Now this drink stirrer is going to be in my family for the rest of my life. I'm going to pass this down from generation to generation of like, "Oh, do you have Papa Ryan's Bravo stir stick? This meant a great deal to that crazy man," So we get there. I'm just like running around like a goof. This little bracelet right here gave us free drinks. And I was like, "Oh my God, free drinks. Amazing." The servers were really nice. Peter, of course, was there. Talked to Peter. And Peter, what do you say about Peter? Peter's just so Peter. He's just so Peter. In fact, there was one time I put this on my Instagram stories. I went to the bathroom and I was like, "I'm in the Sir restroom." And I was like so excited to be there. And I was talking, and I was like, "In the Sir restroom." And then I go out, I was filming this, selfie wise. And then DJ James Kennedy like walks past me to go in the bathroom, and I try to flip the camera around. I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Ugh." And then I'm like, "Oh my God, that was DJ James Kennedy again." I'm walking, and then I walk right into a door, and that's fine. I'm used to walking into doors, but I walked into a door right in front of Peter. And this is after I'd already talked to him, and he could see how nervous I was. And Peter was like, "You okay there, bud?" And I'm like, I go, "Yeah, I'm just really excited." And he's like, "Of course." And I was like, "Why didn't you give Raquel nachos in the beginning? None of this would have happened, Peter." But that was the kind of energy. I was just like tripping over myself. I was like, "Dude, you got to chill out." I'm saying that of myself right now. I was like, "Dude, you got to chill out." Now, DJ James Kennedy was there with Allie. I got to meet Allie in person. Very nice. DJ James Kennedy, I got him to call me a poo-poo head. Let's play this audio for you right now. If you didn't see this on Instagram, really a shining moment in my life.
Hey, who's this poo-poo head?
How dare you?
I gotta call me a poo-poo head. But DJ James Kennedy was going around calling people worms with mustaches. Very exciting. I was like, wow, he finally can drop the "it's all about the pasta," because he has 2 new catchphrases. This guy shits out catchphrases. It's amazing. But he was on fire. Everybody was so excited to see him. Katie was there, and I didn't get to say hi to Katie. I don't know. Everything was just too crazy. But at the same time, you know what I got to say? Like, I really love Katie. I loved her this season. I loved having her on. I don't think Katie really likes me a lot. I mean, which is fine. She doesn't really know me, but I don't know. I get that vibe. But I really like Katie. And I was like, I don't know. I was bummed I didn't get to say hi to her because my mom was like, "Get a picture with Katie." And I was like, "I'll try, Mom." And I didn't get to. But I was bummed about that. And then I thought Ariana would be there. She was not there. And I was really, Lisa and Ken weren't there. I was really, really wanting a picture with Ken. So I could be like, did you know some Sandoval was in a jacuzzi with Raquel? Like they weren't there. Guillermo was there, of course. And I was talking, was it Guillermo and Lauren? I was joking with Guillermo. I was like, dude, why did you hire Raquel? Like she was late half the time. He's like, I know, I don't know. And then he was like, do you want to work for me? And I was like, no, I literally, I mean, that would completely ruin my life. I'm really holding out for a busser position at something about her sandwich shop. So who knows? But yeah, those were the people that were there. I'm trying to think who else was there, but it was just, I met Evan Reel from Page Six and Bernie Zillow, I believe her name was. They were great. And I got to talk to one of my favorite producers from Evolution, Natalie, if you're listening. It was just such a delight to talk to you. And, I'm not going to reveal everything that she said, but it was so nice to talk to somebody from a production angle that was able to kind of walk me through a couple of moments that I was like, okay, I'm actually not too far off in some of these things that I was thinking. And listen, they're gearing up to shoot season 11 and they still don't really know what exactly they're going to get, but that's what it's a reality show. This is based on reality. And that's why I would always get so upset over the season when people would say this was staged. Tom Sandoval was signed to a blood oath. It's like, guys, he's a potential narcissist. He's not going to make himself look like a fucking monster just to like get everybody t-shirt deals and brand deals. And if that was the case too, Bravo would be like, ching, ching, money out, give me 10% of every brand deal that you have, which also that Glamour article with the author that's in the third part of today's episode, she goes over some of those brand deals that Ariana's gotten. And why can't we celebrate that? Why is it with this culture that like, sometimes a woman or even Ariana at this point of like, no, it's too much. It's too much now. She is getting just too much. This was done to her. This was done to her. Unless you subscribe to that theory that she wasn't fucking Tom Sandoval enough, the pins and batteries and all that bullshit. And then you're like, I have deemed her unworthy of brand deals over a certain amount of money. But in that Glamour article, she talks about like, listen, I don't come from generational wealth. I want to make sure that I'm taken care of and I don't have to worry about money again and that my family is taken care of. That sounds pretty damn on the nose. And I think sometimes people get frustrated because she is pretty damn on the nose a lot of the times and kind of really correct in how she comes at things. And I think also that was why it was so interesting last night to see her come from a place of fury, because we come from places of fury all the time. I mean, I'll hit from I'll fucking make a mean meme if I feel like it because I just need to act out. She was acting out. Like, wait, she does deserve, and it was actually nice to see that because she could have just sat back and just but no, she was angry. She did love this person. She also thought this other person was her friend. You deserve to be irrationally angry about that. I think it's the fact that we have had so much time with this that in certain aspects, we're like, come on, get over it. You got to remember this was filmed a month and a half, 2 months ago. She had not seen Raquel at that point. So just, chill. Okay, some thank yous before we start this. I'd like to thank the Academy. This is amazing, you guys. I'd like to thank I want to thank everybody that works with me. Juliana Carosa takes the notes, the transcribes these shows, and I still do it for certain shows, and these are monsters, you guys. These are monsters. We do line by line recaps. And I'll go then, I'll watch it 4 times, but the last time I'll watch it is with her notes. And she does, I'm saying 99.999% she gets it right. I'm changing like little words here and there, but she's even gotten so good that she'll even start doing facial reactions. Cause I'll always put facial reactions in my notes. And she started putting facial reactions. So Juliana Carosa, if you are listening, if you're not sick of me yet, thank you for everything that you have done for this show. I could not do it without you. And I would not want to do it without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is always a joy when I get her text saying the notes are done and I get all excited like a school kid. And I'm like, okay, I can go watch it the last time with these notes. And it's just amazing. I can just scroll through really, truly, guys, if you ever want to recap a reality show and you need somebody, I highly recommend when you guys start your eventual Vanderpump podcast, she's the one to go to for notes. I'd also like to thank Maritza Lopez, who does all of the graphics, has put up all of these on YouTube. She is an amazing sounding board and so talented. The artwork, that's worth it to go to that YouTube alone just to see those graphics she makes, as well as the graphics for the show guests and stuff like that. Immeasurable. Also an amazing sounding board, Sandra Freier, who does a lot of our bookings, does a lot of the Patreon, is also, like I said, that amazing sounding board. You got Marissa, who is always giving me just amazing information, will take notes on podcasts that I don't have the time, nor do I want to listen to, and just is always pointing me in the right direction, even though she will give me too many Selena Gomez items because she loves Selena Gomez. And Amy Field is amazing. I've done so many Patreons with her. She's been on this main feed as well. Very smart, very funny. And so I'm lucky to have all of those people in my corner. And of course, I know this is savvy, but thank you to my mom, as always, and my dad, and just everybody. So, and thank all you guys. Okay, so where do we start here? How do we start this? Listen, it has been 98 days since Scandival broke. So that's 141,120 minutes. 141,120 memories, oh dear. Talking about lightning necklaces, na 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 na. Talking about poo-poo heads, na 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 na. Talking about worms with mustaches. Talking about videos where you're pleasuring yourself at Schwartz's. Seasons of Sandoval. Da, da, da. Okay, that was, of course, from Rent. Rest in peace, Jonathan Larson. Let's get into this. Here we go, folks. Ooh, Vanderpump Rules, Season 10, Episode 18, Reunion, Part Trace. This is the description the cable company gives us to see if we are going to be interested in watching this. Raquel faces her former friends. The group revisits the disastrous girls' trip to Las Vegas and Lake Havasu. They discuss Tom Schwartz's alleged role in covering up the affair. Andy questions Sandoval and Raquel about their relationship. I do think it's funny that they revisited the Lake Havasu Las Vegas trip. It was like a gentle, entry into this, even though it's always easy to Monday morning quarterback. And I thought Andy did a great, amazing job. But at the same time, you're like, dude, why are we wasting time on this? Let's get to how long you been fucking. Like you wearing condoms? What's going on? Like, I almost felt like, I wanted to tag in at times. And I know a lot of you guys did too. Like, Andy, let me in there just for 1 minute. Hey, we're doing a new feature where we let an audience member come in and just question Sandoval. So we get Andy's voiceover. Tonight, the dramatic conclusion of the Vanderpump Rules reunion. And we get little previews of what we're going to see this evening. We see Andy to the cast on set as Raquel is here and ready to face the group for the first time. And Raquel enters stage and walks to her seat like clink, 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 clink. And she's in her little green dress, which we find out at the end, that was a two-piece dress. A lot of women just were explaining to me how important that is. And I didn't even care. I was like, okay, yeah. I guess that was like a big surprise of the night. She changes out of that at the end and it was a two-piece. I was like, okay, yeah, clothes, huh? Crazy. And then Andy, we see a scene goes, why couldn't you stop? And Raquel was like, it was a connection that was impossible to turn away from. And by the way, I will say, Rachel, Raquel, her voice, remember, if these voices are going to upset you, turn away. Don't listen to this. These are my interpretation. And I will say she was on her voice a lot last night. She was doing a really good, solid voice. When she does get nervous, she tends to go a little like that. A lot of people will say I'm doing like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, which I love. Somebody that really hated me early in the season said I was making fun of an elderly handicapped man, which I was like, where are you even getting that? I've done these Raquel imitations for the last 3 seasons, And what you'll do, or what I'll do with my stupid impressions, I'll take one little piece of something I notice and just try to blow that up as much as possible because it's something that makes me laugh. It is not a dead-on impersonation, and I'm very aware of that. I do Brock as a little Irish leprechaun, and he's not any of that. Hey, what's going on there? I'm Brock, good as gold on vinyl. Hey, I'm Brock. I am gonna get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Sheena. So I just want to let everybody know if that upsets you, but we're trying to have a good time. We are going to take what Raquel says seriously. I do have empathy. I started off with 0 empathy, and I think I'm up to 8 to 10% empathy for her. So we'll get to that. We see a scene of Schwartz to Raquel of like, didn't we have some real chemistry, girl? And then we see Katie go, she's a cunt and you're a drunk. That's what happened, which I want that on a t-shirt. Not that that's what happened part. I want she's a cunt and you're a drunk. We see a scene with Andy go, did you hook up with Raquel in your home? And Sandoval looks at Andy like, God damn you, Andrew Cohen. Why did you ask that question? Then we see Sheena. Oh my God. Listen, I was so impressed with the Raquel fan cam that we got of Raquel not reacting to everything that she was watching. You want to know what the polar opposite of that is? Sheena's cam. I want to fucking watch everything with Sheena. Are you kidding me? Sheena gets into these shows. Sheena was like, oh my God. I want to watch TV with Sheena. Like, fuck Wally Jackson, Brittany watching this. I want Sheena to watch every episode of Vanderpump Rules, even the ones that she's in, and just give me her real reactions. We give her a couple White Claws and some Sun Chips. I'm telling you, it takes so little to entertain me with these people. I was so, and that's hats off to production and the editing team, man. You guys edited that without any air, and it made me laugh so much. So good. We see a scene of Ariana crying of, I cannot think of 2 worse people. Sandoval's looking down. Raquel is looking down too because she saw a shiny nickel on the floor. And Andy is like, and coming up later. And we see Raquel in a talking head. Producer Jeremiah, which I was hoping Jeremiah was there last night, and I didn't get to see him because I would have thanked him for his service. But if any of you guys bump into Jeremiah on the street, don't run up to him, but just say thank you for your service, sir. Just give him a little Navy salute, a little salute if it were. Raquel, the guy, Jeremiah's like, are you ready to tell the truth? And Raquel looks down and takes a deep breath. Those are the kind of moments where you just want to cut the tension. You're like, if Raquel had any kind of like comedy background, like Ariana, she takes sketch comedy very seriously. It would be great if Raquel like had a little whoopee cushion, was like, like, okay, Raquel, but take it seriously for real. We get it, Raquel. We start this whole episode with she's entering in this vehicle. She was 100 yards away. And the vehicle takes her up to Avenue 6 Studios to the door, and she's getting out of the car. It's not raining, yet there is a production assistant with an umbrella. Like, I mean, do we think we were going to get like a stray tomato with somebody spitting from the rooftops? And we see James inside on the studio. He's like, insane. What a finale to the finale, Andy. Guys' night. Oh my God, you guys, I forgot to say guys' night to DJ James Kennedy. I was so starstruck in that moment. In fact, I was like, DJ James Kennedy, I'm the one that wrote on your Instagram that Ken actually knew about Raquel in the jacuzzi, and it got a lot of likes on your Instagram post. I actually did say that like a loser, and he's like, legendary, you're a legend. So Andy says, been speaking to everyone in the group except Raquel, but now she's here and ready to join us. And they cut to one empty seat on the set. And I shit you not, for that first minute, I was like, holy shit. I thought Raquel was the chair. And because I was like, that chair is giving more emotion than Raquel does this entire reunion until that last 5 minutes. I really was like, can we just keep the chair out there? The chair was giving me answers. It was giving me attitude. I was like, wow, that chair is, it's like stepping into its power. That chair has main character energy. And then I realized Raquel was not sitting in that chair at that point. It was just an empty, sad, lonely chair. The producer backstage is like, you ready for this, Raquel? And Raquel's like, hey, I think so. I mean, no, but I gotta confront it. And Andy's like, because of the restraining order she filed against Sheena, Sheena is now over 100 yards away in her trailer. And that is when we smash cut to Sheena wearing her it really is all happening sweatshirt over her gold dress. And she is just sitting, watching the TV, holding a White Claw. This is exactly how I watch Vanderpump Rules. And she blows out a huge breath there. She's like, she is just like, breathe in the anger, breathe out the anger. She looks so intense, like she's going to fire start that entire trailer. It is such a big laugh moment, though. Like, didn't it break the tension for you? Also, interesting that we didn't start with Sandoval being like, green light, dude, green light, green light. And we cut out that Xanax moment with Schwartz, was what we saw when Raquel was coming in last episode at the end of part 2. And then he's like, well, let's bring her out. Raquel, are you here? And they roll her out like Silence of the Lambs. She's fully in a straitjacket, and she has this big thing over her face with these metal bars in her mouth. And you can just see these little tiny eyes just darting about the stage. You know, the gentlemen with machine guns on either side of her. You can see up in the corners, they have snipers just in case Raquel makes any kind of weird moves where she tries to land on Sandoval's dick at any point. No, none of that. She just comes walking out on stage. If anything, we need to literally have all our sights on Sandoval and not on Raquel. So Raquel just comes clinking out, ding, 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 ding. And Schwartz closes his eyes and dramatically blows out a huge breath of air. Hats off to all of the facial reaction work by the cast of Vanderpump Rules. From Schwartz with his puppy dog resigned, like, oh, I'm never going to get a break here, man. He's like Eeyore. If Eeyore, also lied about people that he hooked up with. And you have that. And then you have DJ James Kennedy, where he is just like, oh my God, my nipples are so hard. Guys night. This is amazing. He just wants to leave his seat so bad to go pee-pee, but he's been scolded so many times. You have Katie that is just kind of having this strong, every time they would do a reaction shot of Katie, there was just kind of this reserved strength that she just was so poised. Ariana poised as well, as much as you can be in a fucking revenge dress. Like I was like, put me in that dress. No, actually, don't put me in that dress. But you would just see rolls, just all these rolls coming out of these little bandages. She's sitting there. You can tell, like, think about it. Think about the reality of this moment. First time. They don't know what's going to happen. There's got to be nerves. There's got to be anger, all of these things. And Ariana especially is like, how is she going to react to that moment? And you could tell there's just shit bubbling under there. Tom's like, oh, dude. Oh, my God, dude. I wonder if he was like, she's so fucking hot, dude. I got my mojo, dude. Yes. And Lala, Lala nails out, ready to pounce, verbal assassinry, ready. And Schwartz like blows out a breath of air, like, oh. The stage crew to Raquel, there's like 7 stage crew behind her, cameras behind her following her out. It's like, we're going to walk now. We're walking. Raquel steps out on the stage. Everyone is on looking at her except for Lala and Ariana as she takes her seat. Sorry, guys. Bless me. Woo. DJ James Kennedy's face is like, ee! And then he's like, hi, Raquel. Hi, Andy. Sorry. She goes, hi, Andy. And Andy goes, how you doing? And Raquel's like, I'm holding up. I'm super embarrassed and not proud of myself. And I know I owe a lot of people an apology in this room. James is blowing air in his cheeks. He's like, and you can tell he's trying to like combat this smile. Ariana stoically looking ahead. Sandoval is looking at Raquel, biting his lip. And Andy's like, well, we're going to talk about everything that's been going on. But first, we need to discuss, who are you wearing, girl? You look amazing. No, he's like, we got to talk about how we got here. I want to talk about that girls' trip to Vegas and Lake Havasu that Katie organized. I will remember in this moment when I saw it for the first time last night, I was like, oh, that's where they're starting? I also thought this was an opportunity. I wish production had put in a supercut of how we got started from where Raquel was at the beginning of the season. All those I wanted a super smash cut of the Sandoval, Ariana, Raquel relationship from where we started to now. I really wanted that. I wanted that visual representation just to remind the audience of where we started. We got little pieces of that, but I wanted it really laser-like. But Andy, being fair, is trying to present this story, and he feels that this story for Sandoval started there. we get a flashback of that montage in Vegas where Katie's like, we're doing a divorce party. And Ariana's like, girls trip. And we see a jet flying over them. They spend time at Disco Pussy with Raquel yelling, yay, we're having so much fun. And then Raquel making out with Oliver on the dance floor, Garcelle's son, the cheater. And then later that evening, Lala's like, dude, I would never trust you around my man. And little Lala's like, fuck no, bitch. And then we have a drunk Raquel responding, oh, thank God you don't have a man, with the hand motion. She does that hand motion like she's a server with a tray. And Katie's like, what? And Christina Kelly's like, oh my God, Raquel. And then we're at Lake Havasu. Raquel telling the girls like, it was a mistake for me to come on this trip, so I'm leaving. And that was when Charlie came and got her. And then they went to guys night. Now, this is an additional footage from Peacock scene. And Andy goes, you didn't invite Sheena because she was encouraging Raquel to go after Schwartz. But you did invite Raquel, who actually did try to go after Schwartz. Why invite Raquel on the trip? And Katie's like, well, because for a while since the beginning of the year, I was trying to forge a friendship with her. I had her on my podcast. She was just out of her relationship with James. And I did genuinely have an interest in being friends with her. And although she was pursuing Tom, I thought she was being misled in ways. And I wanted to give her an opportunity. I said, you know what? Let's just try to forget and try to give the benefit of the doubt. But foolishly, and let's just try to have fun. Single girl summer, it wasn't too, I will say this, isn't that an interesting line of talking about that she thought she was being misled? Because, you could make the argument, or people are making the argument, that Sandoval is misleading her as well. So is Raquel that person that we just think is being misled by all men? And what is that percentage in your mind of Raquel knowing what she's doing and being able to take responsibility as a 28-year-old woman? And how much of it is these men? I mean, do you have like a percentage in mind? I mean, in my head, I think there's a 70-30 split. I think we'll get into that. So Andy's like, deep. And Katie's like, yeah, it wasn't. There wasn't anything behind me inviting her. That was the end of that additional scene. The Peacock scenes are just really like kind of brief little sprinklings, but I love it. Raquel says, I was so uncomfortable on that trip the entire time. And Lala's like, that's your issue, not ours. And Andy goes, well, I'm going to back up a minute. The first stop on the girls' trip was the Paris Hotel in Vegas, where Lisa, you have your latest restaurant. How is the Vegas restaurant business going? Andy, that's great. We finally got Lisa's Vegas restaurant plug in there. I love it. We're finally in the actual fucking part that everybody's been waiting for. And Andy's like, really quick, need to do an infomercial for Vanderpump Vegas. And Lisa's like, this is most dramatic. And she's like, fantastic, Andy. Oh, nigga lane. Oh, she's like, fantastic. She really does. She holds out the fat. She's like, like she just got like something poked up her butt. She's like, fantastic. And he's like, that's great. She's like, yes, we knocked it out of the ballpark. And Andy's like, and today we're surrounded by something special. And Lisa's like, Vanderpump Elaine. Here we are surrounded. And we see all like the steampunk chandeliers. And she's like, yes, these lights. So it's very productive. It's always been something of mine that I've loved to do. Create, design. I see beauty in everything, Andy. And Vanderpump Paris is arguably one of the most beautiful restaurants in Vegas. I'd actually like to argue with you a little bit about that. But Andy's like, wow, that's so cool. Thanks for completely grinding this reunion to a halt. Amazing. Of course, Nicolade and me, we're such a team. Did you know some Zanzibar was in a jacuzzi? Not now, kid, not now. But they just show us various shots of the decadent restaurant design. And I'm just like, wait, now? We're doing this now? Couldn't we have snuck this in the first part? Like the rest of I would have loved Raquel's like, I really love the design as well. It's just really amazing work. And Sandoval's like, yeah, dude, fucking cool, dude. You and Kyle Chan need to turn team up. That's amazing. And he's like, Raquel, let me ask you a question. I thought that I saw some real sisterhood in the car ride to Havasu. Oh, Andy, did you? Did you think you saw some real sisterhood? I love Andy watching TV and he's like, You know, Ben, I think I'm seeing real sisterhood here. Like you are a big brother to your little sister. Um, so she's like, "Oh, you had a breakdown on the road and they all rallied around you." We get a flashback of that of Raquel, like, I don't feel good. I need water. You know, and they were all being very caring and looking out for her. And Raquel's like, the difference is they proceeded to bash me at this dinner in Lake Havasu. And it was like the issue. Remember, that was also the trip where she had the galaxy light. Now, I do want to start, listen, at the end of this, spoiler alert, we find out that the timeline goes on, potentially a little bit longer in terms of them having sex and all of that. But it didn't go back as far. Like, you guys literally were like, she has dated Sandoval since birth. Like, she came out of that womb and she was dating Tom Sandoval. That didn't happen, nor did I think it was. I mean, at this point, you really could tell me anything, and there's partial chance I might believe it just because the lies have been so deep. But the Galaxy Light, remember, was in Vegas, and Tom Sandoval, big proponent of that Galaxy Light. So if she's already looking at the Galaxy Light, let's just maybe assume. And, I would think that potentially there was an emotional affair at this point going on. I really do. There were ideas exchanged like, dude, you ever get a real nice Galaxy Light? No, what's that? Dude, you ever see Star Wars, man? Imagine that on your fucking popcorn ceiling, dude. Yeah, dude. No way. Raquel's looking up at a galaxy light where it's like, what if God was one of us, just a stranger on a bus trying to make his way? Okay, I'm off the rails. So Katie's like, we didn't bash you, Raquel. And Lala's like, we didn't bash you, ho. We were talking about this comment that you made. And by the way, my comment was spot on. I wouldn't trust you around my man. And Lala points her 6-foot-long fingernail to Sandoval. She's like, hi, hi. And then little Lala down there points her little nail. And she's like, hi, bitch, hi. And Raquel looks down and shakes her head. And Andy's like, so Raquel, what did you mean when you said to her, thank God you don't have a man? And they pop over to a Sheena fan cam, and we see Sheena wide-eyed staring at the TV with her White Claw like it's a big bowl of soup. She is in. Like, that's what I was like. I think the Vanderpump Rules producers were like, guys, we got some magic here because Sheena is loving the show. Raquel was like, I was so drunk. Like, literally, this popped into my head and like, I knew I shouldn't have. And Andy goes, sometimes being drunk, you speak the truth. Katie smiles and nods her head. Yes. She's like, yeah. And Raquel's like, I'm shocked at how drunk I got that night. And the Sheena cam shows Sheena frowning like, and then Raquel is having a lot of difficulty speaking. It's very slow and cumbersome, but that is kind of normal for Raquel. Now, Andy, in an article today, I think even speculated that maybe she was on, maybe she had some of Schwartz's Xanax. Maybe she had a tranquilizer of some sorts. But I didn't notice it much different than how I normally see Raquel. I think that is the big question mark, the big mystery that we still didn't get answered, is that she is very poised. She is a fembot mixed with a pageant contestant, it's just the poise is insane, but it's not poise where you're like, wow, that's really admirable. It's weird poise. It's poise where like, how are you this poised? This isn't right. You're not reading social cues at all. Like, you're even not trying to fake cry like Tom Sandoval is doing. Raquel's like, and my personality did shift this summer. Like, there was a change in my mindset that I started not pleasing every single person around me, and I started only pleasing myself. Like in that video that Sandoval whacked off at Schwartz's apartment. Yeah, up top. Okay, no. By the way, I want to say there's no shame in people shifting your mindsets or trying on a different part of your personality. I think what's hard though is when you lie and cheat as part of that. And I will also, Raquel is so childlike in so many ways. because she talks about these things like she's heard of, like, well, when I went to college, I said to somebody today, I was like, Raquel, it's like she's like talking like she went on Rumspringa. She's like Amish, and she, it's like that Amish rite of passage where they're like, do you want to stay in the religion anymore? Go on Rumspringa, drink as much as you want, party, and then come back to the family and continue the Amish tradition. She's on like this weird Vanderpump Rumspringa where she's just like, I've tried everything, galaxy lights and fucking. And it's really weird, but she talks about it in such a childlike way that I don't even know if she understands what these concepts mean. I feel like she's been told about them or read about them, and she's like, that's what I'm doing. Yes. So Lala goes, screwing people over, and instead you start fucking Sandoval. And Ariana's like, my man. And Raquel's like, instead I have been super, super selfish. And Ariana's like, selfish does not even cover it, bitch. Diabolical, demented, disgusting. She pauses. Subhuman. And Kay's like, mm-hmm. And Ariana snaps her fingers on both hands. Ariana's like, start getting a better vocabulary to describe your fucking actions because selfish does not even cover it. Sandoval's glaring like, this bitch, dude. She has all this time to fucking insult the woman I love. Can't even fucking pick a battery, dude? Are you fucking kidding me? Huh, you guys are getting fucking railroaded, dude. Raquel's like, I feel like my actions are human. It's exactly that. And Lala's like, not at all. And Katie shakes her head. Nope, that's not human behavior. And Lala's like, can I tell you? And Ariana's like, no. James, who was sitting between them with his hands folded on his lap with his little devil boy smirk on his face, can't hold it any longer. Have you watched, Raquel? Have you watched the episodes? You lying to Ariana's face? And Sandra's like, you guys, hey, guys, it's easy for you to say this, dude. And Lala Sandoval, you got to be quiet. You got to be quiet. No, dude, I don't have to be quiet. Yes, you do. Because what's sick about this, let's talk about this. And Sandra's like, no. And Lala's like, shut the fuck up. I'm talking. And James like, shut up, Tom. Shut the fuck up, Tom. You lying to Ariana's face. You asking her to. No, you shut up, DJ James Kennedy. And Lala's like, I'm going to talk now. And Sandra's like, you've been talking, dude. You've been talking. And Lala's like, I'm talking. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And I'm going to continue to talk. And Andy's just rolling his eyes. These are the moments where you're like, and by the way, when and if I do ever get to talk to Andrew Cohen, I will say, when you're in like hour 7 of this and people are just screaming over you, what is in your mind? You ever regret creating this gladiator, cage that you put these people in? Do you ever go, this has gotten too far out of control? Do you ever get tired of it? Do the screaming just kind of like, you watch those videos with Andy in the car with his kids when they're screaming and crying, and he's just like, okay, like this is good training for Andy as a father. Like he's, it's like dealing with little DJ James Kennedys with his kids right now, but then he's on stage and I just wonder how much he's like, oh man, come on, let's go. So they're just talking over each other. Like, I'm talking, shut the fuck up. No, you shut the fuck up. No, you shut the fuck up. And Sandra's like, no, dude, you've been talking. And Ariana's like, you're not going to defend this. And Sandra's like, you shut the fuck up, Lala. And Andy's like, I would love to hear what both of you have to say. And Lala's like, I'm going first. And Ariana's like, ladies first. And Andy goes, okay, what would you like to say? And Lala goes, to watch the both of them act the way you were acting and saying the things you were saying. And Raquel is bobbing her head up and down to Lala, which, by the way, I talked about this last week. There is something that was pointed out to me where she'll do these rocking motions, almost self-soothing like a child. The visual cues of her bobbing up and down. There's a processing thing happening. This is human behavior that is worth studying. I do think we will get a diagnosis of some sort out of Raquel eventually. And I don't mean that excuses behavior because, by the way, whatever that diagnosis be, it seems like she hopefully is getting treated for that. As of today, she is still in a mental health facility, which, by the way, you guys, whoever did that rumor last week that she's out and looking for brand deals, guys, you got to stop with that shit, man. I know it's fun to get likes and clicks and all of that shit. I know, believe me, I know there's better ways to do it. Like, don't abuse your audience. You will lose their trust eventually. She is still in there. And she is in there of her own accord. So James is like, it's insanity. It's insanity. Because I was like, watch you fucking each other was so demonic. Sheena, cut to Sheena watching. She lets out a little woo and drinks her White Claw. By the way, if I was Sheena during those camera moments, I would be like just whispering good as gold to try to get some kind of residual for the song. And Lala's like, I'm sorry, Sandoval's like, Lala, dude, we weren't fucking first and foremost. And Lala goes, oh, you were making love? And Ariana's like, fucked. And Sandoval's like, we had sex one time. Guys, for everybody keeping track at home, that is one big lie from Mr. Tom Sandoval. So he's already lying out there. We will find out in the last 5 minutes. That is, checking in with the judges, that's right, a lie. Lala smacks her hands together. It doesn't matter if it's one time or 1,000 times. And Sandoval's like, yes, it does, actually, Lala. Actually, it does. In some weird part of Sandoval's imagination, he has now convinced himself, if he can convince this crew it's one time, he will get off on a technicality. It's almost like, if the glove acquit, the glove didn't fit, you must acquit. Like, he thinks he's going to win something of people at home going, well, hon, he said it's one time. I think we need to give this chap Sandoval another chance. I think we should go see his band this weekend. He's like, in his head, he's like, dude, I'm just clinging to this one time thing, even though that's a lie. But if I can convince them, I've got a shot here. And Lala goes, you crossed the line. You crossed the goddamn line. Jane whispers to Lala, why does he keep saying one time? It's more than one time. And Lala's like, no, it doesn't. Sandoval's like, yes, it does. And Ariana's like, no, it doesn't. And Sandoval's like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Just throws a full fit. And Ariana plays his game. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I could do this all day, she says. Katie laughed about how ridiculous this is. Now, I do want to say, this is like, what would you, it's like somebody with an advanced, advanced placement English class, somebody in like AP English in like a senior year of high school, competing with somebody like at a third grade reading level. So Sandoval would just be like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Like, it's hard. Like, Sandoval, at least, and that's why I wish the attention for the whole hour was thrown on him, like that Howie Mandel interview, because this guy gets himself in trouble because he's cocky enough to think he's got the answers, even though they're lies. But it's fun to watch him do that because you can poke it apart and pick out the lies after the fact. With Raquel, there is never any satisfaction. You are walking away completely still, hungry. You're not full at all. But Sandoval, there's always a meal because you can pick apart everything that he says, and he makes it worse for himself every time he opens his mouth. But Raquel, once again, manages to be a blank slate that these lines all feel memorized. These lines feel like a pageant competition. There's just, it's unsatisfying. And that's what I think we were feeling last night. And of course, it's hard when you've got like these verbal assassins on top of Ariana, who does pretty well on herself, really coming down on this girl. So of course, because we're human, we tend to get like, that sucks. But I keep reminding you, this is Ariana's first time seeing this person. And I do wish at times, like I said before, DJ James Kennedy and Lala did step out of the way so we could actually see what we're here to see. And I believe that would be the interactions between Ariana and Tom, and Ariana and Raquel, and Ariana and Tom and Raquel. Those are the things that I had interest in seeing at this point. Like, they're great comic relief, but sometimes they would like just overtake the scene. And it would be like, okay, you're hysterical, you're very funny, you're making points, but I want to give enough silence where somebody's forced to say something in this group. I want to try to find a scenario where, what will Ariana say to Tom eventually? What will? And if we keep filling that space up with DJ James Kennedy and Lala, it makes it hard for those moments to happen. So once again, I felt like those were missed moments that we'll hopefully see next season. And I want to just clarify, I'm not dissing Lala and DJ James Kennedy, but sometimes their energy is so energetic that it just sucks up all that oxygen from the room. So they're playing this, no, it doesn't, yes, it does, blah, blah, blah. And Andy goes, okay, for me, watching you talk to Ariana about her intimacy issues with Tom, it seems, looking back on it, diabolical. And they flash back to that scene with Ariana and Raquel at the bar at Tom Tom's, the actual, what was going to be the finale of Vanderpump Rules. After the something about her party, Raquel's like, do you feel like you're sexually attracted to him? And Ariana's smiling like, oh my God, I think he's so fucking hot. yeah, Ariana makes mistakes too, you guys. And Raquel's like, well, I feel like in a relationship, you should want to like have sex. And Lisa's like, I've never seen anything like it before. Lisa's like, I've never seen anything like it before. It's like the decoration at Vanderpump in Paris. It's just amazing. I am blown away. Nick Lane. And he goes, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, what was it like for you looking back, watching those scenes? And Raquel's like, oh, God, it was so hard for me to watch, which is so fucking bizarre because she keeps saying things like it was so hard for me to watch. But also, what was it like for you to actually live that scene? Like, Raquel, you were in a unique perspective because that's you on the screen that you're watching. What did it feel like in the moment? Like, yeah, sure, looking back, you're cringing, but what were you thinking in that moment? Now, I want to remind people, at this point, even though Tom's going to lie to you and say they only hooked up once, at this point, they were fucking on a regular basis, even more so than was even said last night. And remember, this was kind of a double date between Joe Schwartz and Sandoval and Raquel at the Kyle Chan opening party that they went to before they then went to the Something About Her event that Raquel was not invited to. And at this point, Raquel, it was like a childlike possessiveness to Tom. And I don't want to make it sound like Fatal Attraction or anything like that, but I think there's like, I want this to be my man. And so she was looking at these things. She was looking for these moments to try to say, okay, maybe I can convince Ariana that she's not sexually fulfilled with this dork. So I can be, it seemed like she was in a way thinking of like how a fifth grader thinks about love, of like, will you be with me forever? Yes or no? That's how it reads, which is weird then to introduce actual sex to that kind of childlike atmosphere. So, they're like, Raquel's like, oh God, it was so hard for me to watch. And now we cut to Andy's one-on-one with Raquel. And Andy's like, at that point, it seemed like you were fully sleeping with Tom. And Raquel's like, at that point, we had slept together once. Checking in with the judges, that's a lie. And he was very transparent with me and what was happening in their relationship. But remember, this is already a lie, but also Tom at that point was probably lying to Raquel about their relationship. And Andy goes, did you encourage him to break up with her? And Raquel's like, I encouraged him to reflect and see if he was really happy because as a friend, first and foremost, I wanted him to be in a situation that made him truly happy. What did you want for Ariana, Raquel? Also, I wanted to point out that we talked about this on a podcast this week, but this scene with Raquel was filmed the same day as the reunion, where the other one-on-ones with Tom and Ariana were filmed the day before. The reason they filmed all of Raquel's stuff in one day was that they were scared they were going to film her one-on-ones and then she wasn't going to show up for the reunion the next day. So they made sure they got all of that at once. So that's why Raquel was there for the full day. Now we're back on set and Raquel's like, I genuinely was coming from a place of, do you want to be in this relationship? Because if the answer was, and Ariana goes, the answer was yes. And you already had fucked him at that point. So shut the fuck up. Fuck yourself with a fucking cheese grater. You guys, right now I'd like to promote the official Ariana Maddox cheese grater. Fuck yourself with this amazing cheese grater. It can cut Parmigiana, Swiss, American, and also the Bambi-eyed bitch that cheated with your 9-year boyfriend. That's right. The Ariana Maddox cheese grater. You can get this today. No, it is a great line, but this is when people started being like, oh my God, Ariana, like oh my God. But yeah, wouldn't you be fucking upset too? She's already yelled at Tom. She never got to yell at Raquel. And she goes, I wish nothing but the worst fucking shit that could happen to a person on you. And Sandoval's looking at Ariana with disdain. And Raquel is looking at Ariana like it's a TV screen, It's very blank, no emotion whatsoever. And Sandoval's like, the thing is, we don't live our lives by logic. And Ariana just like, everybody's laughing. Everybody's like, oh, and James like, no, did he say logic? Even Lisa's like, nigga lane. Everybody is just having this group just crack up session. They're just like, holy shit. Oh my God. Ariana's like, I can't. It's such a joke. And Lisa's like, there was no logic to this, dear boy. And Sam was like, exactly, dude. That's what I'm saying. The feelings took over, dude. So he's trying to make it say, like, dude, you can't fight love, dude. Love is a 4-letter word, dude. Love isn't a 6-letter word like logic. You know what I'm saying? Love it just takes over. Also, what he's describing is a boner. There's like a surge of blood that goes to your penis area. And I think he is confusing those things as he's like, dude, there's no logic in this old boner, man. You can't stop this logic, man. Check this thing out. He proceeds to have a 4-inch fully erect boner. Sheena is intentionally watching the TV on the Sheena cam, and she's making like a stunned face, like, huh? And Raquel's like, no, 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 no. And Ariana's like, it's such a joke. It's such a joke. And Raquel's like, wait, James and Lala can't talk because they fucked and they kept it a secret until this. And by the way, if you see, this is the moment I froze last week where Sandoval's like leaning over, like, yes, this is what we talked about. And Lala gets out of her seat and yells, and I wasn't your best friend, ho. And then James is like, I was a kid. I was 25. By the way, I really do have the feeling DJ James Kennedy is going to say that his whole life. Like, I was 50. You can't. I was a 50-year-old boy. Please. Are you kidding me? I was 54 at that point. Oh my God. Huh. I love James is like, oh, I was 25. You can legally cheat up until 26. And he holds up his hand with 5 fingers in case we didn't understand it. Lala's like, I thought you were a no name, and then I met you and fucking hated you. It's not the same thing. This was your best friend. Lala points to Ariana, and Lala's like, you're sick. Sitting there talking to her while you've been fucking him. Are you out of your fucking minds? And Sandoval's like, been fucking? No, dude, one time. Yeah, I love this. Why do we keep saying one time? Like, dude, you're going to get arrested, dude. It's one time, man. And Katie's like, one time? It doesn't matter. That's the problem with Sandoval and Raquel. They like literally focus on the wrong things. They're like, the one time thing is going to really get them. It's going to shut everybody up. And then everybody just thinks they're crazy. And James is like, let's be honest here. Multiple. And Sandoval pouts his face and mocks James. Multiple. I'm James Kennedy. I know everything. And Ariana's like, great British accent, dude. And if we can remember anything, let's remember that this man, this Tom Sandoval, horrible at accent work. And Andy's like, Lala, Raquel also said you were Randall's mistress, so explain to me. And James whispers, shut it down, Lala. Honestly, shut this down. And Lala goes, I'm so sick of this. I'm so fucking done with this mistress comment. And Andy's like, okay, why? Because I'm not one. And if I were one, it would be a lot easier to sit here and say, you know what? Shit happens. And Andy goes, okay, so what happened? Actually, that's, and Raquel's like, actually, that's not. And Lala to Raquel goes, be quiet. And Andy goes, what's the truth? And Lala goes like, what's the truth? Because I was lied to for a very long time. Gave me a ring. He said they were separated. We're talking about Randall Emmett, you guys. We were traveling together. He's FaceTiming his kids while I'm right next to him. We are out in the open. And Santa's like, why couldn't you go to his house then? And Lala goes, hindsight's 2020, motherfucker. You guys, when you're watching Peacock, the unedited, when you're hearing C words and F words and P words and B words and D words, it just is worth that $9.95 a month. Santa was like, why did you call him a boyfriend? So you refer to him as a boyfriend. And Raquel's like, keeping a secret. The Sheena cam, she's now just eating Sun Chips. She's like, oh, and by the way, Sun Chips, can we get her a brand deal? Can we get Sheena a brand deal for these Sun Chips? She made them look so delightful. We get a flashback to 2016, sitting in the Sur Alley. And Lala's like, yeah, I was trying to cover up dating the guy, I guess X, as of yesterday morning, because I just didn't want to talk about it. And I felt like, oh, this is a little fun acting game. Remember that with all the girls like Sheena and Katie there and trying to explain her relationship with, thou who shall not be named. And then at that year's reunion, Andy going, were you dating a married man? And Lala goes, no. And Andy goes, are you dating someone? And Lala goes, I am. And Andy goes, you are. Is it the same person you were dating last summer that these ladies had all heard about? And Lala's like, I'm not answering that question. Now back on set, Sandoval's like, that means you guys had been seeing each other in 2015. Lala pops out of her chair again. Shut the fuck up. And Sandoval's like, he was not separated, dude. And Lala goes, this is my life. You will not talk about it. No shit, he wasn't separated, Sherlock, you stupid fuck. And Sandoval's like, so you were yelling at her about like, do your research, dude. And Lala goes, I did not yell at her. I said to her, you know what? You're not a mistress. Oliver lied to you. We flash back to the night of Lala's birthday from this season. And Lala's like, you, my love, are not a mistress. And I want you to know he's going to get off from this pretty squeaky clean. The woman always takes the brunt. Now, isn't that a fascinating comment to think about post-Scandal? The woman always takes the brunt. Even in this reunion, like, you know, everybody's coming at Raquel, you know, and deservedly so. But we expect so little out of men. And even when they screw up, like, we're so willing to forgive Schwartz. Like, I've already seen it happen, which, by the way, sometimes you girls don't help yourselves because you'll say it and then you'll be like, I saw him and I just want to, I'm going to let him do weird things to my body. I want to fuck him so bad. Oh my God. It's like, I hear those comments and I'm like, God, no wonder these guys keep getting away with it. All you need is to be like somewhat attractive. I mean, he's very attractive, but like, my God, it's really admirable. Like, you guys are just as horny as Tom Sandoval sometimes. You're just like, I can't help it. I want him to ruin my life completely. It's worth it. Can you imagine the lazy sex you would potentially have with Tom Schwartz? Just the laziest. It would taste like wormwood. I'm just joking. I do. I mean, hey, Tom is very charming. And by the way, that's what I'm saying. Don't feel bad. Schwartz is doing fine. He's on Mars right now. He's doing fine. Plenty of women still want to sleep with him. He's going to be fine. We forgive men so much quicker than we ever forgive women. Dude, he's doing better in some cases than Ariana is. Like, the things I'm starting to read about Ariana crack me up if it weren't so scary. It's like, man, we need to make these people villains. I'm like, it's like wild. It truly is wild. I mean, even you guys listening, you probably started to feel that a little bit too. Like, oh man, I didn't like how she acted. Or, oh, too much money. Why are we seeing her face again? You know? This is additional footage from Peacock. Andy's like, you were misled and the situation is not. And Lala's like, completely misled, Andy. By the way, Amber, who is Randall's ex-wife, his ex-wife is one of my nearest and dearest friends. And Andy's, Lala, she just has a way of speaking, like nearest and dearest friends. And he's like, good. And Lisa's like, who's ex-wife? And Lala, by the way, Lisa, can we stop slowing down for Lisa? Either watch the show or don't. But the amount of times that Lisa's like, what Halloween costume? What did you do? Oh my, Tom and Raquel? Oh my, jacuzzi. But she remembers everything about Vanderpump Paris. You know, like, oh, I'll tell you, I sourced out the nuts and bolts myself. It was from an Australian farmer. He makes the best nuts and bolts. Me and Nick Lane took a trip, and it was just amazing. I can tell you every moment. But, you know, her own show that they've actually done these episodes on of like, you wore what, Raquel? A Tom sweatshirt? Oh, my goodness. So Lala goes, okay, that girl is one of my closest friends. She's family to me, okay? And little Lala's like, me too. And it's like, if his ex-wife is saying, you were lied to, Lala, you weren't a mistress. He was cheating on me with you. He was cheating on you with me. Guess what? There it is. If I was a mistress, shit happens. I got that. I'm not. I was lied to. And Raquel's like, after that scene, she said, I hate being called a mistress because the woman gets the blame and Randall never had to take accountability. And Andy goes, so do you feel like you're taking the blame for this and Tom's not having to take accountability? And Raquel's like, no, I'm saying that she referred to herself as a mistress in that moment. So this was a moment that Raquel and Tom really wanted to have against Lala. But once again, I just don't think it held the weight that they wanted it to for the audience. And Lala's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Raquel's like, and now she's trying to rewrite history. They flash back again to that scene, and Lala's like, I've been the home wrecking whore. I've been the fucking mistress. I've been all of those things. But you know what? We rise above and we know what the truth is. Lala was actually very kind to Raquel in that moment. And what she's saying there is she's saying, like, listen, I've been talked about as this home wrecking whore, as this. Not saying she was one. This wasn't her admitting she was. She's saying that she's been all of these things to other people. She's been called all of these things. There's a difference between actually, I hate that I'm having to explain that. Like, it's like, holy shit, this is dumb. And Lala says, I said, I'm the one who's paying for someone's lies and actions. He has never had to. Now, Karma's a real cunt because look at his life now. Additional footage from the Peacock. And he's like, Lala, when Charlie and Raquel left the house, Raquel said you were mad that Oliver chose her instead of you. Was there any part of you that felt upset at her over that? And Lala's like, not at all. And Andy goes, not in the least. And Raquel shakes her head. And Lala goes, do you still think this is about Oliver? Do you really think that is why we got into it? And Raquel's like, well, I know how you were treating me that night in Vegas was about Oliver. And Lala goes, it was about the comment you made. And Raquel goes, but that was after you were harassing me. And Lala's like, when did I ever harass you, you dumb bitch? And Katie and James are cringing, laughing. And this is when it kind of got, because Raquel doesn't seem to understand the things that normal humans would. And I don't think Tom Sandoval's too quick on the uptake anyways, which I think he thinks he is, which is even sadder. But that's why these things kind of do seem like this, oh my God, we're just kicking. It's not like this girl is defenseless, but there's no use. There's no use to any of this. And Lala's like, my God, I have a degree. No one's going to go to that school, Raquel, because if this is the product that comes out of it, fuck. And Andy goes, okay. Raquel, a few weeks later, you were supposed to go on a date with Oliver. His estranged wife started posting on Instagram that they were not officially separated. What did he tell you the situation was? And Raquel's like, he told Lala and I at the same time because we were both having a conversation with him that he was separated from his wife. And Andy goes, okay, Lisa, you really took Oliver's side in all of this. Of course she did. Of course. Why believe him instead of whatever his ex was saying? And Lisa's like, I'm misogynistic. It runs deep, Andrew. I hate women. No, she's like, because I don't know his ex-wife and he's worked for me. He's been an exemplary employee. I love that he clocks in on time. She's like, he never could have cheated. Oh my God, this man, he clocks in and out. He takes his 15-minute breaks. Oh. Then she's like, I adore his mother, who is Garcelle. I've spoken to Oliver directly on many, many occasions. He was doing the right thing. He was sending money to his estranged wife to support her 2 children. And Lala goes, estranged? And yes, Lala, he wasn't living there. And Lala's like, yeah, he was. They slept together that night. Listen, when you watch the show, he said maybe occasionally we've regressed and gone back, which often happens. People sometimes have regret, but he had left his wife. He was living separately for many, many months. I knew that when he worked for me. There was no upside for him. Now, Lisa, come on. Lisa's a very smart woman. Lisa does not give a good goddamn if this man was cheating on his ex or not, or cheating on, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I made sure he put away a little bit of his paycheck for those darling little nickel bottoms to, like, come on. This woman helped create Jax Taylor. Are you telling me she's like, no, he's on the up and up? No. And Andy goes, he's still working for you at Vanderpump Vegas. And yes, of course he is. If I thought he was a married man, do you think I would say, go out with my girls in my restaurant? Of course I wouldn't. I completely think she would. I don't even doubt it for a second. Like, no, she'd be like, naughty, don't let anybody find out. Did you know Oliver was in the jacuzzi with Raquel? Like, are you kidding me? This is additional footage from Peacock. God, it is dark. I just keep thinking about this of like, these people get themselves in these situations, but all of the people around them help them get to that place. Like, Lisa knows that this is, it's the bar industry on top of that. I'm not making excuses, but this shit This shit really does happen. And she's had 10 seasons of seeing how these staffs treat their loved ones. But it is weird. It's like another example of how we really will give all of the options to men that lie. Even in this hour, we've already had Sandoval lie so many times, and we find out more lies after the fact. So you're like, no, he told me he wouldn't lie. I love his mother. Like, can we just accept that men lie? Men lie, period. So if that is true, what else could be true? So Lala is like, listen, I would prefer not to speak on this. I'm very close with his wife. I believe her. Once again, I do think it is funny how much Lala, she's close with all of these people, the nearest and dearest. But I love that. I do love that Lala says, I believe her. Because in these situations, we tend to believe the man. We want to believe the worst in women. I was talking about that with, I think, the producer last night. I said, it's so interesting to have done this through Scandival. And sometimes the harshest opinions about these women are from other women. When I'm like, wow, we have perfectly good dipshit men here to really dig in on. But usually the answer is like, well, I know they're idiots. And it's like, I'm so confused. Can I'm slow on the uptake too. Can you guys tell me, like, are we supposed to like women or not like women? I'm getting confused. Are we, I really get confused sometimes. So Andy's like, you're close to his ex-wife? And Lala's like, yeah. And Lisa's like, since when? And Lala's like, well, we've known. You don't know his ex-wife. And she's like, well, I do now. And Sandra's like, Lala, how long did you know that Raquel? And Raquel's like, how long did you know that Oliver was not separated from his wife? And Lala goes, I want to say maybe the day before. And Katie's like, not as long as Schwartz knew about you guys, which was a great comment by Katie. I don't believe she got the credit she deserved for that. And Sandra's like, she said a week, dude. She said a week. And Lala goes, well, it could have been a week. And Raquel's like, she said it was over a week. And Sandra's like, you held that information from Raquel. Why? And I was like, she didn't want me to speak with her. And Sandra was like, because you wanted to maybe see her like look stupid. Lala goes, Raquel can look stupid all on her own. She doesn't need help with that, which was a really great throwback to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills of like Garcelle, like, Erica can look dumb all by herself. She doesn't need any help with that. Lala is going to be a really great housewife one day. She might not have a husband, but she's going to be a really great housewife one day on a Real Housewives show. Mark my words. She's really just good at that. But what Tom is trying to set up here, another bit they're trying to set up is that, listen, dude, you think we're the only people that plan things and do wrong things? You try to hang Raquel out to dry because you knew this information about Oliver and you try to make her look stupid. But what I would say also is like, hey, Tom, isn't that crazy, dude, that you were also fucking Raquel at the same time? I do think she was hooking up these little things like this Oliver, this Schwartz, this Nima, all of these little things to kind of force Sandoval's hand a little bit. Now, I'm not saying this of like, how dare this woman urging him to be a bad guy. No, I think that Sandoval was getting sex off her, and she really did think in her 6th grade mind that she loved him. And she wanted to be protected and cared for, which I think is normal. But I think this is such a childlike individual. Now, believe me, with all of this stuff, I could change my mind next week. I go up and down on my opinions of her, but I'm trying to land somewhere, right? We're at the end of the season. I would love to land on what I think about this person. And it's ever evolving, and it's probably going to stay evolving. But I started just really honing in on this childlike. It's this childlike person that's, it's almost like the movie Big, but Tom Hanks, he doesn't go to work for an ad company. He just starts, fucking grown men in relationships, like it was like this childlike thing in a grown woman's body. It's like the Curious Case of Raquel Leviss instead of Natalia Grace. And she's just this child that is trying to speak efficiently. And Lisa's like, you're angry because of what happened to you, Lala, and you should not. And Lala goes, I'm a woman that's been through something. And yes, I know that lots of people, but don't let it create you into a bitter woman. And Lala's like, I'm not bitter. I'm aware. And Andy's like, okay. And Sam's like, okay, Lala. And Lala goes, shut up. You're a fucking moron. And Sam's like, look at you, dude. Look at you. And Lala's like, yeah, I'm going to fuck off. This is what you expect. And Sam was like, your head is spinning around, dude. And the Sheena cam shows Sheena relaxed on the trailer, eating more sun chips and nodding her head at what Lala's saying. Like, oh my God, I need to see Sheena at a Jerry Springer show. Just a cut to Sheena and Jerry Springer, or like Maury Povich, like, you are not the father. And Sheena's like, yes. And James is like, look at you this whole season, a psychopath. And Lala goes, you know what you're going to get? This one slithers. You slither. What the fuck do you think you're going to get? And Andy's like, okay, all right. And James is like, you're a worm with a mustache. And Sandra was like, fucking phony ass, dude. And Ariana bursts out laughing. James is like, oh, a phony? Keep it in your fucking mouth. Keep it in your dumb fucking mouth. Guys night, Imagine Festival. And Sandoval's like, because Lala has been the most vocal about our relationship, dude. The person who knows the fucking least. The things that offend Sandoval crack me up. It's like Lala is nailing him. Like, she is the least involved in their relationship, but really has nailed him on everything. And I think it pisses him off because, like, this is not the one that deserves to call me out. I need it from somebody else. Like, I would even take it from Katie, dude, but not fucking Lala, dude. And she's hitting it on the head every time. And Lala goes, I think I called it pretty well. And Sandoval throws out his 4-year-old face and tongue. He's like, yeah, you called it pretty well. Blah. And Lala goes, which you hate. That's why I trigger you. And Andy yells, all right. Lala to James, he hates me because I see him for who he is. Dangerous. And little Lala goes, dangerous. And Katie's like, we all see him for who he is. And Andy goes, okay, let's leave it right there. We'll take a break. We turn from the break to see Brock arriving at Sheena's trailer, as well as Allie. And Sheena's like, hi, handsome, your hair. Because he chopped off all of his gorgeous locks. And he does look great. I remember DMing with Sheena. I was like, damn, he really does look good. She's like, right? And Allie's like, he does look so good. So now we've got a whole watch party in this trailer. And Andy's like, we're back. One of the other shocking moments of this summer was when Tom Schwartz and Raquel made out by the pool. And we flash back to the Sheena's white party in Cancun when Schwartz and Raquel kiss at the table, which, by the way, it gives me the willies every time I see this. Like, I never want to see myself kiss on camera. Like, that would just skeeve me out. And I can't imagine what the public would think, but it's, there's every, and Schwartz is like, can I say something about that? And he's like, yeah. Huh, is that how I look when I make out with people? Because in my mind, I'm sexy. I'm kind of like Casanova undertones. And Katie's shaking her head, scrunching her face. Like, it's that Jim Halpert office. I'm like, I was fucking married to this guy. Are you kidding me? And he's like, I'm a good kisser. But when I saw that, it turned my world upside down. Like your divorce? This guy, man. And I also, I'm a pretty good kisser. Like, I'm pro. Like, I almost made like Olympics for kissing one year. It was like insane, dude. But like, I slept through my alarm at nationals for kissing and I never got there, but like, I'm really good. So when I see that, it upsets me. Ariana rolls her eyes and Katie's like, no, it was like a father-daughter kissing. Disgusting, gross. And Schwartz is like, oh, Katie, chill. And Andy goes, do any of you think Katie overreacted to the kiss? And everybody's like, no. And Jim's like, fuck no, no. And Andy goes, Schwartz, Katie made it clear that you guys had one rule post-divorce, which is don't hook up with anyone in the friend group. So what drove you to completely disregard that boundary with Raquel? And Schwartz is like, maybe it was a technicality because they weren't friends at that moment. Like, this time he's trying to be witty and funny and it just doesn't go over at all. Like, I almost expect him to say, like, because I was crossing my fingers so it didn't count at all when she said it. Andy makes a cringe face during this and Schwartz is like, anyways, no, tip your waiters. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, we just started having a little bit of a thing. And Katie's like, no. And Ariana goes, she already fucked your best friend. And Schwartz is like, I didn't know that, dude. I didn't know that, man. And Katie's like, you didn't have a thing. It's called, and Ariana's like, yeah, you didn't know that, but she did. And Schwartz to Raquel was like, did we not have, didn't we have some real chemistry, bro? And Raquel's like, how is that we had? And Katie's like, no. And Ariana goes, maybe it was residual because she was fucking your best friend. And she was like, it was brief and fleeting. Oh, man. And Katie goes, she's a cunt and you're a drunk. That's what happened.